Looking for a family vacation destination that combines history, fun, and great food? Then check out this vlog from our recent trip to Greater Williamsburg, Virginia. We did so much when we were there, from driving go-karts to playing miniature golf, from visiting wineries to dining at gastropubs, from seeing historical recreations to visiting living history museums. There was so much to do and see. Many thanks to Visit Williamsburg for sponsoring this trip. And if you enjoy family travel content, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next video.
Sometimes you want to raise your walls to a higher point, but you don't have to tell me anymore. But I'd like to know that soon.
We were fortunate enough to stay at the Moody House, which is one of the colonial houses in Colonial Williamsburg. You won't find it listed on the website though, because it's reserved for VIPs and special guests, so it was definitely a treat to be able to stay there. It's named after Josias Moody, who was a blacksmith who owned the property from 1794 until his death around 1810, so right away we were immersed in history. The home was really spacious. 2 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a formal living room, a dining room, a den, and a large kitchen. If you'd like the full tour, I'm going to link to our full Moody House tour video below. After we settled in, we headed to Pirates Cove Golf Adventure to play a little miniature golf. Since each party waits until the previous one is done with that hole, it was the perfect socially distanced activity for our family. It was time for dinner. We went to Blue Talon Bistro, which is a French eatery in the quaint Merchant Square district. Good morning! We are off to get some breakfast. It's pancakes time, right girls?
Pancakes.
Ella wants to show you her mask trick. Her rapid breathing technique. Very nice. After breakfast, we headed towards Jamestown Settlement. Serge and I had actually done a little homework with the girls before this trip. If your kids are fans of the Disney movie Pocahontas, they'll know Jamestown as the place where Pocahontas and her Powhatan people and John Smith and his English settlers met. The movie was largely based on John Smith's own writings. Smith is now known to have been a bit of a fabulist, which means that most of the movie is actually historically inaccurate. Pocahontas was only 10 or 12 when John Smith arrived in what would become Jamestown, so they were never romantically involved. That dramatic story of Pocahontas laying her body over his to prevent him from being killed by her people, that was also most likely made up, even though it became a deeply entrenched part of America's creation myth. It's even depicted in the frieze in the rotunda of the Capitol building in Washington, D.C. As a young woman, Pocahontas was kidnapped by English settlers, made to convert to Christianity and learn English ways. She eventually married an Englishman named John Rolfe. The couple, with their young child, traveled to England in 1616. Their expenses were paid by the Virginia Company of London, which was hoping to recruit more colonists by using the couple as a symbol of how viable the Virginia colony was. After all, wasn't this interracial couple evidence that the English and the Native Americans could live in harmony? Sadly, right before she was to sail back to Virginia, Pocahontas died of disease at the young age of 21, and she never saw her home or her Powhatan family again. It's a fascinating story, and there's a lot more to it, so I'm going to link below to an excellent video from the Smithsonian Channel. So, back to Jamestown Settlement. This is a living history museum that tells the story of what would become America's first permanent English colony and the mix of English, Powhatan, and Angolan cultures that existed in the area from the very beginning. Being able to walk through a recreated Powhatan village really brought this era to life.
How did you make the spoon? That's actually made out of a gourd. You know what a gourd is? It's related to squash and pumpkin, and the Powhatans would include those with their crops. It's not something that you would eat, but you can use it to make a lot of bowls.
At Jamestown Settlement, you can also see James Fort, which is a recreation of the military outpost at the time, and you can also see recreations of the 3 ships that brought the English colonists to Virginia in 1607, the Susan Constant, the Godspeed, and the Discovery. So YouTube, I just want to show off my beautiful, huge sun hat. I've reached official Asian mom status with this hat. For lunch, we went to Gabriel Archer Tavern, which is a casual, rustic restaurant that's part of the Williamsburg winery. Where are we?
I don't know, but we're in a cool place.
Look at all these prizes. After all the excitement of Go-Karts Plus, we had worked up quite the appetite, so we headed to Cochon on 2nd for dinner. This was definitely one of our favorite meals of the trip. So we're doling out the candy portion that the girls get tonight, and Ella wanted to have the entire bag of Skittles, which was obviously a no.
Why are you throwing it like that?
That's this way. Alright, that's good.
What?
That's 4.
That's 4.
I don't think you do.
All right,
on vacation,
one more.
You get extra
Okay,
candy.
one more, and that's
Comment
it.
if you think this is not enough. Look at this is small bowl.
I don't care. You comment
the
whatever
candy.
you want.
This is not correct.
Ew! Oh my god. The next morning, we headed to Mobjack Coffee Roasters and Petite Cafe for breakfast. Celeste and her husband Joe roast their own beans and have a successful wholesale business. They also operate a sit-down cafe out of this location. Now, the last thing we were expecting with our breakfast was a ghost story, but we got a great one. Celeste told us that when she first started looking into leasing the building, a lot of the old-timers in the area discouraged her, saying that the building was haunted. And sure enough, once she moved in, she would hear sounds like running water or footsteps on the stairs, even when there was no one in the building but her. Celeste originally referred to the ghost as Miss Elizabeth because she had found out that the building used to house an establishment called Elizabeth Cooper's Coffee and Tea House back in the 1880s. Then one day, Celeste was hosting a group of visitors and was telling them about the haunting. Afterwards, one of the women in the group went up to Celeste and said, "I'm actually a medium, and the whole time you were talking about the haunting, the ghost was talking to me. She wanted me to let you know that her name is not Miss Elizabeth, it's Miss Anne." How freaky is that? After breakfast, we walked around Yorktown for a bit, and then we made our way down to Yorktown Beach. Next up, we headed to the American Revolution Museum at Yorktown. If Jamestown Settlement tells the story of the very beginnings of the United States, this museum is sort of the sequel, tracing the evolution of this territory from the colonial period to the Declaration of Independence to the Revolutionary War. The girls loved exploring the recreated Continental Army encampment. We chatted with historical interpreters who taught us about how muskets were fired, what types of medical conditions the soldiers faced, and what treatments were available to them. And we also found out how and what the soldiers cooked in terms of food.
You want to eat that? I don't think I want to eat that. But this is what you're getting every single day as far as food. Now, you're going to have some other things in here as well.
There's also a Revolution-era farm, where historic interpreters explain the types of crops that were grown, what typical farm families ate, and also how tobacco was grown and processed.
A rooster.
It's so cute. It's so cute.
After Yorktown, we took a walk around Colonial Williamsburg. It's often referred to as the world's largest living history museum, and the scale of this place is pretty incredible. We enjoyed strolling down Duke of Gloucester Street, and the Governor's Palace is a must-see as well. When it was time to eat, we checked out Amber Ox Public House. It's a casual gastropub that serves farm-to-table dishes. I have no idea what's happening right now. Someone's getting a very happy birthday, courtesy of the fire department here. The next morning, we had breakfast at Ely Cafe Williamsburg. The coffee is excellent, of course, since they serve the famous Italian coffee brand, but the pastries are worth stopping in for as well. Then it was time to head back to New York. The girls were really sad to leave. This trip was the perfect combination of history, learning, and fun. If you'd like some advice on how to fly carry-on only, even with kids, go check out this video right here. If you'd like to support our channel, consider becoming a Patreon. I'll link it below. And of course, be sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. Thanks for watching.